let's get this party started.
All right.
All right. Call to order the Diamond Head Water and Sewer District meeting of August 22nd, 2024 at 4:02. Would all of you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Glad.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and one background.
He's doing a fine job. He's all right. Don't be hating.
I ain't hating. There's no hate here. Well, there might be a little bit, but that's nothing to apply in this room.
Don't be
It might be just a little bit. All right. Madam Tony, would you call roll?
Chairman Brian Griffith,
Here.
Vice Chairman Louis Ertel,
Here,
Treasurer Mark Bisecker,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Arlen Griffey,
Here.
and Commissioner Eric Nolan.
Here.
Thank
Please let the minutes show that we have a full house. First action on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I didn't receive any requests for adjustments, so I assume that we'll operate under the one that was sent out in advance. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Griffey and Commissioner Nolan seconds. All in favor of approving this agenda action, please signify by saying aye.
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 And that motion carries. I'm gonna go way out on a limb here and say, since I don't see a single other
Nobody.
public person in the room, that we don't
Crickets.
have any public comment. So we'll
Yeah. We don't
pass
have,
that right on
we don't
by.
have that.
So, pertaining to the minutes of our last meeting of August the 8th, again, which was prior sent, I need a motion to approve or amend.
So moved.
Commissioner Nolan.
Second.
Motion is to approve as submitted. Commissioner Griffey, this seconds the same. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. Executive Director's Report.
Sir David.
Thanks, sir. We'll start with the altitude valve project with digital engineering. We had some contract documents that needed to be revised, and I think we might be close to finishing that up as of late this afternoon. And we had a meeting with the engineers and contractor on the 21st, Wednesday, and a big note out of that meeting is that the material is reported to be on a 10-week delivery. So from the time that we pull the trigger, it'll take at least that long to get what we need in here. So we're, gonna strategically project out, the calendar days on this project, just like we have with the other. And on the Lift Station 17 force main project, all the piping has been installed, tested and is in operation at this time. The remaining items include an asphalt patch and a receiving manhole liner. The manhole liner will require a brief shutdown, which will be coordinated with district staff, of course. The Lift Station 26 project, as we know, the stop work order is still in effect, and the material is still expected to arrive around October. No abandonment of easement this meeting. The Colo Court drainage project, the City of Diamond Head had a pre-con meeting on Friday, and they are expecting to issue a notice to proceed for that work on August 27th. We don't know if it'll proceed from that date or be issued on that date for another date, but they're supposed to be discussing that at that time. Some maintenance department highlights were 33 sewer cleanouts installed, 1 sewer service repair, 2 new water and sewer service connections, 28 hydrants were repainted, 3 after-hour emergencies were
Question,
responded. Sir?
When you do new water and sewer connection, I noticed this last 2 weeks ago, or whatever, last meeting, and I just didn't say anything. If I see it like this, is it automatically residential? And if you do commercial, do you call that outside?
We would call out the commercial
Thank you. Sorry.
separately.
Yeah, yeah.
Normally, they're a much bigger deal.
I would think so, and that's why, and also it would help me to know who's gonna do something.
Right, which we'll have a comment here later in a second. But so 3 after-hour emergency responses, 2 were water, 1 was sewer. The water tower number 1 warranty claim paint issue, we're now collecting some details and data and moving forward with legal processes to try and, I guess you would say, convince that contractor to fix what's wrong. On the proposed new construction project reviews, the Preserve Phase 2 subdivision, I was just notified this week that they're making some modifications, so we'll be looking for another revised drawings on that. Diamond Head Lakes Phase 2, that's still on hold, and we actually met with Elliott Holmes this week and discussed probable phase 2 revision coming, so we'll see. The AutoZone project, I was notified that it is canceled for the current location in Diamond Hill.
Why don't they use the dollar
Fa-
store?
Someone else has spoken for that.
Are you kidding me?
No, sir.
That's awesome.
I don't know who it is,
Yeah,
but,
that's all right.
um,
I like it.
so yeah, back to what you said about the commercial,
Yeah.
you know, the AutoZone's not gonna have a tap right now.
I was looking forward to it when I was young. Well, I'm always working on something.
And,
I love it. You can laugh at me, Mark.
That's Snickers.
Oh, okay.
There's a
That
difference.
was a Snickers
For
for a horse.
the McKeekee Drainage Project, I mentioned last meeting, we had the release for payment, and we actually received that payment this week in full, so that's all wrapped up now.
I think that's a woo-hoo.
That is a woo-hoo. The, at your request, you wanted to, kind of highlight or focus on the next projects that we want to really, you know, place on high priority. Well, the first highest priority, the sheet I've given you here lists all the projects that were completed, current projects and future projects, and the two at the bottom,
Will we get this every meeting? I like this.
you can, sure.
It's
The,
gonna
uh,
say the same thing.
It's not gonna change much.
Yeah, change what, every 2 months, 3 months?
About it.
These are for the year, basically.
Max,
How about we do it biannual?
Okay,
yeah.
I like it.
So
So let it be written.
the two highlighted near the bottom there in the future project section are the sewer improvements phase 3, which is basin 3, and basin 4. We're actually gonna combine these two. We have an understanding, well, we have a comment, I should say, that DMR may be issuing us a $1 million Go Mesa grant to apply to that project, so that'll be
Which project, sir?
the phase 3 and phase 4 combined.
Got it.
And, you know, basin 3 and 4 both are just, you know, replacing existing sewer piping, most of it being clay and some of it being undersized. So we'll have a plan to resize some of that stuff, reline some of it, replace some of it, just as we did in the last project. We do have an in-house project for that area coming up real soon. We will replace the force main from that lift station and upsize it, just as we have a couple of others recently, which has worked out real well. And we'll basically use the same methods as we used in the previous sewer project that was very successful. So,
Who is Gomesa?
Go Mesa,
Mesa.
Gulf of Mexico
Gulf of
program.
Mexico.
Mr. Griffith can probably speak in great detail about that matter.
Well, Go Mesa is not actually the Gulf of Mexico program. Go Mesa is an extension of the Deepwater Horizon payments.
An extension.
An extension of.
Interesting.
The,
Land and Till.
That's where the food fight occurs for something that should have stayed on the coast.
It's the five coastal counties, right? I
Oh.
mean, it's
Use-
the five coastal states.
It was not even, well, we won't go into
Yeah.
that. I can give
Like
you
us
history.
really.
I would give you history
You
you'd
can
never
really
want to
get
hear.
into
Texas pretty much
Um,
got cut out, I understand.
Huh?
I think, didn't Texas get cut out?
Originally, because they got all of the lump sum of tourism traffic, got no oil, and had no financial or ecological impact whatsoever, but got the nose bent out of joint that they couldn't put their hand in the kitty.
Couldn't wet their beak.
Yep, so that's pretty much it. In a nutshell.
So, in addition to that, of course, as you see, we have future projects that we love to design and execute, but it all revolves around funding, and we're limited in that area. As you can see on the right there, we've kind of put in some notes for you just to view that we've applied for all of these grants, different funds, ARPA, the GCRF, the Go Mesa, and last year we didn't receive, we being the whole coastal area we're not gonna be awarded anything because they overpaid in the last round. Basically, it's layman's terms for everything. So we had to all go reapply this year. And of course, all these will take at least a year to trickle down if anything comes of it. But we have had some conversation with DMR, and we do think we're gonna get the $1 million for the Go Mesa grant.
Actually, I'll take that back. Gomesa is not the extension of Deepwater Horizon. Gomesa is actually the offshore oil royalties distribution to the state of Mississippi and the other states.
From the leases.
Correct, the offshore leases. The offshore leases, it used to be CARA and CAP, but it turned into
They
Gomesa.
change their
Yeah.
terms all the time.
Yeah, to protect the innocent, in the end. Yeah. But yeah, that's why the numbers they're highly variable and as a consequence of the restrictions on offshore leases have come down a bit as a consequence, so.
You guys are doing a good job in estimating.
they
Well,
are-
I was gonna mention a note on that matter, because as we've seen in recent past, these are just projections and estimates. It could come in higher, it could come in lower. When we start the design process, we can narrow it down a lot tighter, but
Oh, no, when you're executive director, you gotta be within plus or minus 3%.
plus or minus $1 million.
Exactly.
I was just looking at the top part, actual cost and completion,
Mhm.
and you guys estimated very well. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
congratulations, well
There-
done.
There is alternate, we've not participated in this, but and this is the time to do it if we're gonna do it this year. So each year, the legislature appropriates funding. Of course, they approve Go-Mesa and the Restore Act and things like that, but historically, they have issued a big bond every year. And they'll divvy it out statewide. $1 million here, $2 million here, nothing really big. But that's pretty big for somebody like us.
For a lot of small people.
We have not, and Capital Resources, who is the district's lobbyist, has been ready to try to assist with that, and I think they would be successful. We've just not been forthcoming with what, Claire calls them white papers. It's a little bit broader project description,
I'm familiar with what they.
but I think we should try for it this year. We've got time right now. We're in August to September. We've got the rest of this quarter.
What do we need to do?
Well, we need to pick which project you want to try for and get our engineer that project has.
Do we know what the deadline period is?
She's gonna have to have time to lobby, so I think by the time the legislature convenes in January, you should have picked the project you want to go for and have her a white paper. I don't think there is necessarily a deadline, so to speak.
But probably before
There is.
Christmas,
That-
so you're not
July
scrambling.
30th was our big deadline, so we got all the applications in for the
Right, right.
available grants that we knew about.
You got in the race.
I met with the lobbyist a week ago, and we went over some of this stuff, so we feel like we've got in everything we can get in at this time.
But we have never gone for the bond money.
So if we go for the bond money, what kind of money is that? 5 million, 10 million,
It
50?
depends on the project. They approve it by
So
project.
so a small projects like ours would be attractive.
Hypothetically, that one right there on
Yeah.
the front, future projects, water line rehab phase 4, $4 million, that's what we go for. Whichever
agree.
one we go for, but I'd pick a 2 million, 2 to 3 maybe, 2.
Then we could do sewer improvements phase 5, basins 1.
Yeah, whatever, I mean, I'm not,
Maybe that would be a good one.
pick something.
Who picks?
Y'all do.
Brian?
Yeah, or David does, but
All right. yeah.
David, or y'all, you approve however you want to do it, but we're never going to get it if we don't try.
So the reason I ask in January, session beginning is perfect. Couple of updates in this area that kind of overlap a bit, I guess, is met at David's request with Councilman Mayor the other day, and it looks, hopefully y'all find this good news, it looks like he would like to have me reappointed. Okay.
To the same post.
To the same post.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really good news. I'm glad to do that, but
Which councilman is that?
Mar, I think he's the at-large.
Okay.
The,
Yep, yep.
So that just sets up a dynamic for me. I realize if they accept that appointment request, then
We
I'd
can
have
see
more.
see these projects through.
So let me tell you what I think we ought to do leading up to the fall, and we ought to do it. obviously not wait till late fall, we need to do it starting right now. When you look at the water and sewer districts or anything that would be companion to that, they come in amorphous forms all over the coast. You'll find that they are largely troubled, very troubled in some cases. They're just not Jackson's, but they're troubled nonetheless, for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is you could probably just not let your mind wander too far from discussions we've had about laying off any O&M at critical times, not operating for recovery, pricing at the right level, just a thousand things, right? They just all do the same thing over and over again. When you're Jackson, you get nothing but this, chickens in the coop or the chips, the chicks in the nest just constantly barking for money. And it's just a white noise to them.
Oh, absolutely.
It's absolutely a white noise. So when you see these numbers come out, they have no real relevance tactically in Jackson to anything, except just figure out this pulse hasn't been dealt with in a while.
Yeah. They try to do
Right.
peanut butter spread, of course.
I think we can
Yeah.
take advantage of the district's success in a very different way. Because when you understand, and that is real life, it's just white noise and it's constant, right? If you have a featured district, and I would say we would suggest ourselves to be put in a position where to be a featured district, that is, it is running on its own to make of its own the capacity to get at the most critical issues in the water and sewer infrastructure that it has capacity to hit, with obviously influences like these coming in at, it's luck, right? It's Katrina and other things. It's a new grant program from X, Y, and Z. You take advantage of those, but nonetheless, on balance, I'm just telling you, Diamond Head is different. It is very, very different in its structural capacity to hold its own and move ahead. That is a story the state needs, because it can't have these guys just get further and further behind.
So let them or work with them to highlight
Right.
this success.
So the highlight being the pie is this big,
Yeah, yeah.
the problems are this large. If we can work together to not just make it, or throw everything against the wall till one sticks, come at them like is being said, pick your top priority project for a reason. We should host them here. When I was the executive director of the Gulf of Mexico program with EPA, it was not uncommon for us to see Charles Chisholm and others here a lot, okay? Because there are a lot of issues on the coast. We need to host them for a different reason.
Right.
We need to host our elected representatives. We need to host the new Mississippi executive director for the DEQ, and a few other strategically thought through persons, right? Certainly the staff leads, Murtis and others
Oh, yeah, Murtis
from
Frank,
the,
yeah.
and host them to a ceremony, possibly even host them to dinner, for crying. Take off and have a dinner with them and explain
I agree.
our position, and have them not hear just somebody crying, but actually requesting collaboration to feature it further and further, because ultimately people have to wean themselves off the bottle. They do. And if that's going to happen, it's going to happen on the back of success, not on some abysmal failure where money is just thrown into the pot to try to reach it. So that's what I would suggest we do in the early fall.
I think that's a great, and I was just thinking we need to do it in the fall. We still need to do
Right.
it before the legislature.
100%. But
Well, I agree 100%. We highlight our successes and things that have gone well. We point out that when we're given money, it's well used. We point out that when we estimate, we're close on our estimates.
right.
And then in that, with when we ask for money, we don't ask for $1 billion, and we know what we're going to do with it.
Right. We only take what we can eat and
Yeah.
apply properly at the time,
That's
but
a good story.
we apply it to the most critical need area. Hence, never putting us on our heels where we got to come back and say, oh, we're sliding under here. Right.
So what you're saying is we have learned how to eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Exactly.
I think so
And have
too.
done it for a while.
And have done it for a while. Some years so the point being that some years we fall off the feed simply because they aren't looking at life that way.
Right.
We just fell off the feed because none of them have any real definition except Jackson to a lot of those folks. But if we had more definition to them where it was a featured success story, because they would want more people to learn about us.
Absolutely.
And
And maybe start a program where people come and tour and.
exactly, and
we
be
should
more
suggest
like
those
us.
things.
So it just,
Talk to David and get all that wisdom on how they could do better.
well, yeah, exactly. We just have David whip them into shape,
What the most damn right.
right? But in all seriousness, you want Diamond Head to say something to that whole group of people wherein, because the other side of it is you take, again, the second highest per capita income incorporated community in the state of
Correct.
Mississippi, you know, it's in the wording. It's in the wording of the conversation and discussion. Because you pay the most taxes cannot possibly mean that you get no attention, right?
Right.
But we have zero taxes, and see, that's one of the unique things about the district is you're solely rate based on it.
Correct.
And that's a remarkable, that's a tweak that cities don't understand, and here you are, your district sitting over here.
We could lead them
Right.
to that.
It's a unique quagmire.
It is a unique quagmire, and one for them to take home and realize, I'm tired of hearing this same problem from these same people that's never moving,
Yeah.
except to write a pretty big check,
And
right?
ideally, when we're done with the conversation, we could hand them a short list of, here's the top 3 to 4 things, not a lot, not a list, that someone could do that's in trouble. that
And-
would pull them out.
Correct, and why?
And why, right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Of course.
So, yeah. So, just some food for thought that we need to start, you know, putting a skeleton together and actually make it an action plan by
Let's
the
do
early
it.
fall. But
There's nothing stopping us.
they like to come to those kinds of things, especially if it's not come down to fix a crisis.
I think anybody
Well,
would.
and if we are gonna do it, we need to get it set up, and we need to get with, I don't know, what it is the Hollywood the best hotel down? I have no idea for him.
I have
We
no
gotta
idea.
get some block rooms, cause they're gonna
Yeah.
wanna stay.
Right.
You know, they like doing all that.
Right. So,
Yeah, Hollywood's probably as good as any.
Okay.
yep.
I mean, there's not that many other options.
Yeah, but it's a pretty small geography. They can stay where, ultimately choose to stay where they wanted, but
That's true.
because we're strikeable from
That's true.
anywhere. We just happen to have a little bit of disruption in our egress and ingress points here.
When we said-
just a tad.
Just a
It's
little
a
bit.
freaking train wreck,
Yeah.
When we set,
going all the way around.
when we set up
Right.
things at NASA, what we have found that works well is that Marriott on the beach in Gulfport, if you try and get a block rooms,
They will,
they like that.
they do.
People generally like that one.
Yeah, and
And
they
it's the
updated
center
it.
of the action. You're
Yeah.
in Gulfport, you can go to,
You hit
it's a good-
49 right away.
Yeah, you'd be here in
We've-
30 minutes, 25 minutes,
Yeah.
we've done conferences there
Yeah.
depending on the.
over the years, and it's a solid center location with good rooms and
Well,
good facilities.
And
to
if we're gonna
serve.
do this soon, they would be on the east side where the exit coming in is clear and the exit going out is clear.
That's actually true.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually true.
that's not just a pretty face, Brian.
I'm telling you, you got it going on over there.
Yeah, because the westbound off-ramp is already 2 lanes.
Yeah.
They've already paved that, so we're not gonna get the same.
They're gonna rotate closures.
Right, but
Yeah.
the, but the,
You're right.
well, that westbound off-ramp, it's already 2 lanes. We'll still get the disruption from the roundabout, but it's got the lane width that they need right now.
We have a story to tell. We have a reason to ask for teamwork
Mm-hmm.
to advance it further.
Let us
And,
make you look better.
Yes, exactly.
Let's do it.
Let us help you
I would
help
think
yourselves.
y'all
Yep.
decide by, we're at the first meeting in September, at the next meeting, y'all
Mhm.
think about over the next 2 weeks if this is a yay or nay, kind of how far out or up the ladder we want to invite.
Right?
And then I think you're looking at, as hot as it has been this summer, we're probably safe until the 1st of November.
That's
with-
true.
Mm-hmm.
With weather,
But I would,
but I don't know if you wanna wait that long, so let's
I-
get that.
I would say we could vote on the action in general now, like, we're gonna do this.
Well-
And of course, it will take a stream of logistics to carry us to the, but that's my thought, that's all.
Well, I would be the first to admit on a discussion that stems from an executive report, which is fine, turning into an action on the agenda. I'm not 100% actionable action on the agenda. I'm not 100% certain how to do that.
Gotcha.
So I need some help.
Well, you're gonna need to do a motion to amend the agenda
Okay.
under,
By the way, we had one silent party. Commissioner Ertel, are you good with this?
Yes,
Okay. Because I don't wanna get too far out on that limb.
You're right.
to
Yeah, you're right.
Find out.
When we get to action number 9 on the agenda.
But before we close down new business, to open it back up with an amended, okay,
Yeah,
I think that works.
yes, sir.
Thank
I
you
like
for
it.
indulging me.
Of course, that's excellent. That's good, that's,
Now, on the report, I just have a quick, let me ask, any other commissioners have a question or comment
no, sir.
to the
No,
executive
sir.
director? I do
No, sir.
thank you, I do on one, and it's just curiosity, again, on my part. So lift station 17, the asphalt patch and receiving manhole liner, is that the one south of the Grope Circle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know, because it suffices to say, the last thing I ever want to see us do is penetrate the brand-new roadwork, and it's pretty punchy if you hit that son of a gun wrong. I'm glad to hear we're gonna do that, and it's got to go back to smooth. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
must be what you're dealing with it
It-
on.
Yeah, they were advised to smooth that out,
Yeah.
so it should be better.
It did get better, if not already. I just remember when I came back the other day, it about jarred my teeth, and I didn't know
Yeah.
what I had hit. So, and I know that would.
We'll
not
follow
be-
up this afternoon,
Yeah.
make sure they smooth it out, but
Yeah.
that is, the patching is scheduled.
Cause that'll turn back nothing but negative thoughts on us.
Must
One.
not be too bad, I haven't seen any Facebook rants.
Yeah, I haven't either.
There's
Yeah, I
too
haven't
much other activity. We're kind of
Well-
clouded by the other.
Sad
That's-
enough.
That's
the-
small potatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
The events with the taking pictures of the car tags became a
Yeah.
thing, and I think
Yes,
that's
it
what
did.
they're all talking about.
But I'm glad to hear that,
Yeah.
because it just, and I know it won't be the last. And I know how you deal with these, David, the lessons learned kind of thing. It literally just, they have to be really attentive to that stuff. We don't want to penetrate the new road, we're gonna have to, but if we do, we want to be like as close to have never been there as possible, when we're done. People can tell when we're not done, but when we seem to be done and we're not done,
Yeah, that's when they're dissatisfied.
as opposed to being done, yeah.
You're right.
And the rest of the report looks good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So it leads us into the item 6, the construction engineering projects. 6.1, 2, and 3 this evening have no new business. Leading us to 6.4, miscellaneous construction engineering projects, 6.4A specifically. Seeking a motion this evening to approve digital engineering invoice number 1 in the amount of $640 for the sanctuary plan review, and invoice 14 in the amount of $6,190 for the GIS integration project, both for the period of June 30, 2024 through July 27th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Nolan motions. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner
Second.
Bisecker seconds. All in favor of approval's action signify by saying aye.
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 aye,
And that motion carries. Thank you. Moving us into the financials, 7.1 specifically, seeking 7.1A, motion to approve the payment of the docket of claims in the total amount of $61,623.76. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Nolan seconds. All in favor of approval's action signify by saying aye.
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 aye,
And that motion carries. Moving us to 7.1B, specifically seeking a motion to acknowledge payment of the unapproved docket of claims as detailed in section 6 that we went through in the total amount of $6,830. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Nolan motions. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bisecker seconds that motion. All in favor of approval's action signify by saying aye.
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 aye,
And that motion is approved. Leading us to 7.1C, and I don't have an amount on here, Madam, so I would just be whistling in the wind.
Madam Dollar.
Madam Dollar Person.
My apologies. $6,175.28.
Okay, thank you. So 7.1C, this evening seeking a motion to approve payment of the customer deposit refund register in the total amount of $6,175.28. Can I get a motion to approve? Commissioner Bisecker
So moved.
motions. Can I carry you as a second, Commissioner Ertel?
yes,
Commissioner Ertel seconds. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
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 And that motion carries. Leading us to 7.2, seeking a motion to approve an advertisement of the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget and rates public hearing being held on September 12th, 2024 at 4 o'clock. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions, Commissioner Nolan seconds.
Yep.
All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion is
Aye.
approved. No old business this evening. Before I start business in the new business section of 9, I seek a motion to approve an amendment to add 9.2,
So moved.
and probably ought to point out what 9.2 is.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about what the
Uh,
words are. Yeah, sorry.
So, seeking a motion to approve, at this point, research, right? Research to meet with key state individuals on what? Attorney? How
TBD.
huh?
TBD.
No, not TBD. I want to do a TBD.
Do we want to maybe, and I may be going down the wrong path here, but authorize the executive director at his discretion, this would allow him to use official people to, plan, informational
Right, an informational briefing for state and elected officials.
elected officials.
Okay, let's see if we can recite that.
All right. Motion authorizing the executive director at his discretion, at his discretion to plan and organize an informational briefing of district operations and needs for state and, state, regulatory and elected officials. How's that work? Is that
It does.
close enough?
It does.
It's close enough. It'll give us,
It's
the
good.
review.
We're not gonna do all of them, so I'll try this. So, motion to amend section 9 to include item 9.2, which would read, motion authorizing the executive director at his discretion to plan and organize an informational briefing in the early fall of 2024 for state regulatory and pertinent elected officials. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions.
Second.
And Commissioner Nolan seconds. All in favor of approval of this amended action to the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 And that motion carries. So thank you, and you'll hear me repeat that in a moment.
Okay.
So moving into section 9.1, motion to approve, seeking motion to approve Capital Resources letter of renewal for professional services at a monthly rate of $5,000 for the period of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, as attached here too, and to authorize the chairman to execute the same. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Nolan motions. Can I get a second? Commissioner Biasecker seconds. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
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 And that motion carries. Leading us to the amended 9.2 on tonight's agenda, specifically seeking a motion to authorize the executive director at his discretion to plan and organize an informational briefing in the fall of 2024 for state regulatory and pertinent elected officials. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions.
Second.
Commissioner Nolan seconds. All in favor of approval of action signify by saying aye.
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 And that carries. Last action item of the agenda this evening is seeking a motion to hold the next meeting of the Board of Commissioners on September 12th, 2024 at 4 p.m., Diamond Head City Hall Chambers, 5000 Diamond Head Circle, and to adjourn this meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Nolan motions,